Welcome to weekly Forex forecast from Forex Trading Wizard Academy. This is Forex Wizard, your trading coach. I will be doing a complete multi-time frame analysis of all the hottest currency pairs, cryptocurrencies and indices that we'll be looking to trade next week. The list is a bit longer as usual, but don't worry, I will put a time stamp in the description area. But also just you to watch all of them. As you have seen in my previous weekly Forex forecast, most of the pairs did exactly according to the analysis. There is a NFP coming next week. This is the first week of the month, and also there will be a monthly and weekly close and opening. The market will be extremely volatile. So in that volatile market condition, let's see how we can find trading opportunity one by one. Now before I begin this session, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done yet. So with that being said, let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast. Okay, first let's begin with DXY, as DXY will give us an idea of most of the USD pairs, how they might behave in the upcoming week. So first of all, looking at DXY, as usual, we'll be looking at first of all bigger picture monthly time frame to see general direction in the market. Now from the monthly perspective, we see that DXY currently in a very important monthly level of support. Now as you can see, this monthly level where there was a long monthly red candle when the price was pushing to the upside, in this big movement, bullish movement on the monthly, this red candle is not related to this movement, can provide us a significant level of support. And we see that the price just been primarily started to bounce from this monthly support. As this is the last week of the month, only 2 days remaining, what I think that DXY may have a stronger bounce, and probably we could see that DXY is closing as a monthly doji. So this week, the way the price action is forming is monthly perspective, we might see some bounce to the upside. If we look at the weekly perspective, what we have seen that DXY left an imbalance in the market. Firstly, what we see that after this big drop from this doji, the market formed another doji. So this is the resistance of this doji, and we see that there is a support below this green doji, and the market has an imbalance in this zone. This is a big imbalance that we see market has left. And also when this doji has formed on DXY on the weekly, the price immediately has dropped from this level, leaving a big imbalance in that zone also that has not been tested. What I think that in the new trading week and this month, we might see that DXY having some bullish move to complete to fill that imbalance in the market. So now let's look at daily perspective, how we can find suitable entry opportunity with that respect. Now we see that from the daily perspective, DXY trend is looking like that the bears a little bit of exhausted. What we see, there is a gap opening, and with that gap opening there is a strong drop followed by quite a few days consolidation and series of lower high with this doji formation. This is not a very strong bearish market. As you can see, the market is moving kind of sideways with a slower movement. That's the sign that the bears are not strong enough. And what I think that this is the daily chart. After market open, after a suitable retracement, we might see that this market primarily may break to the upside, and highly likely that it might test this 20 EMA primarily and then could drop. And again, we might see that finally over the course of the month, we might see DXY is coming back here or even breaking this high to the upside. So DXY primarily may start its bullish trend. So looking at the lower time frame perspective on the 4 hour, we see that DXY couple of times it created false breakout quite a few times, but it's still the bears not getting enough fuel to create a strong drop, as the sign that as a result we have seen a strong breakout in the last day of trading week followed by a correction now. So the price is forming a bullish pattern where you see that series of higher low with a higher high. What I think that this is the 4 hour time frame in the new trading week, the price initially might come back down for a deeper retracement. And what I think that along this zone we might see that DXY has formed a bullish price action, and from this zone we could potentially see a bullish move to the upside. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along the zone on DXY, we'll consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at AUDNZD. Looking at first of all monthly perspective. Now from the monthly perspective, we see that AUDNZD is a long-term bearish market. Starting from here, what we have seen that there is a big monthly impulse followed by this correction. If we take our Fibonacci from this high to the low, we see that currently AUDNZD has retraced up to 50% Fibonacci level. As this is a long-term bearish market, what I think that in the new trading weekend and month, we could potentially see AUDNZD has a drop. If we look at the weekly perspective, what we see that AUDNZD with this big weekly impulse corrected to the downside, now this week has formed another bullish candle. As the price is facing this weekly resistance level, as you can see, this is a very important level of resistance. In the past, acted here as support, created this big move, quite a few dodges, giving a strong liquidity zone here. And I think that the price, the new trading week opening the market, we could potentially see a drop on AUDNZD. Without creating a proper consolidation, we may not see a strong bullish move on this one. If we look at the daily perspective, we see that there has been a double bottom here, and the price has broken out with this double bottom from this doji zone. Now when you see a market creates a double bottom, in most cases what you can expect, the price to come back down again to test this previous resistance turning support, and from here we can expect another bullish move. So with that in mind, in the new trading week, we might see AUDNZD is having a bearish move. Now if we look at the 4-hour perspective, we see typically it has already created a head and shoulder, still has not broken down. We see slowly this market is turning into a bearish market. What I think that in the new trading week, we might see a little bit of push to the upside, grabbing liquidity, and from here we can expect AUDNZD to drop to this previous resistance zone, which is turning support. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity after probably a false breakout, we can consider going short on AUDNZD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Okay guys, so let's look at Aussie Yen. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity currently we have in this instrument. Now looking at monthly perspective, first of all, to see the bigger picture. Now you see that from the Aussie bigger picture perspective, Aussie Yen was back-to-back 2 months strong bearish move. Now this is a long-term bull market, but what we have seen that there was a long consolidation on Aussie Yen and then has broken down. Now this month we have seen the bears couldn't create new lower low, instead created this monthly bullish candle. What I think that, as you can see, the price already reached this monthly important level of resistance here, which acted here as support. Quite a few candles opening and closing on the monthly tested as a resistance. We might see Aussie Yen slowly showing some bearish move in this instrument. Now if we look at the weekly perspective, this is what I exactly expected in my previous weekly forex forecast. You have seen that Aussie Yen is likely to be bullish from here. The price did exactly as it is. Now what we see that currently the price is facing this important level of monthly resistance, which is also weekly resistance zone. What I think that in the new trading week, after a little retracement to the upside, we could see that Aussie Yen again coming back down for another deeper retracement before creating any bullish move. Now if we look at the daily, what do you see that Aussie Yen has a nice looking pattern. First of all, there was a daily strong impulse. You can see starting from here has broken all this resistance, followed by a narrow doji on the daily perspective, followed by a long middleman. Now this middleman has been exactly corrected, and we see that there is a strong another bullish candle, followed by last day of trading week. We see that an wickless candle that doesn't have a wick at the top and created a daily move. Now as the price is remaining in this rejection zone where there is a daily high is still remaining, what I think that in the new trading week, a very high probability that Aussie Yen will go up to test this zone here, and from this zone we could see that Aussie Yen is coming back down probably to this liquidity zone again from the daily perspective. So if you look at the further lower time frame, what I think that in the new trading week, Aussie yen highly likely initially will go up to grab liquidity from here, probably above this weekliest candle is a very important area of value, and from that zone we could see that Aussie yen is dropping. So this is the zone that we will be waiting for a potential bearish setup on Aussie yen. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we will consider going short on Aussie yen with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at AUDUSD. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have on this one. As you can see, AUDUSD as expected was quite a few months strongly bullish. We have seen that overall market is currently strongly bullish after a long-term downtrending market structure. AUDUSD from this support has a big bounce to the upside. What we have seen previous months, there is a monthly doji. Now with that monthly doji, we see that AUDUSD after testing around 50% of this monthly doji has a very strong bounce to the upside. Now what we can expect, as you can see, this price currently just been penetrated this monthly doji's high, monthly bearish engulfers high, grab liquidity primarily on the monthly, and we see a small rejection. What I think that, as we have seen that there is a probability for DXY to be bullish, we could see that AUDUSD is coming back down further for a deeper retracement on the monthly perspective. Looking at weekly time frame, as you can see, this is what exactly expected in the previous weekly forex forecast, the price to have a strong bounce from here, and the price did exactly as it is now. As you can see, the price just has broken the weekly high. This is the weekly high, as you can see, penetrated to the upside, as it has created an overextended market to the upside from such an important level of resistance. In the new trading week, what I think that after retest of this level, we could see that AUDUSD is coming down. Even it could retest this doji on the weekly. If you closely look at the market, left an imbalance here in this zone, in this doji, and what I think that AUDUSD will have a drop to this level to complete that imbalance. So if you look at the daily, this is the daily impulse. There is a narrow correction, though it is still in an uptrend. Once you will find suitable entry, what I think that the price might test this zone, which is a crucially important level, and from that 7, what I think that AUDUSD will continue to drop even to this level. So looking at lower time frame perspective, from 4-hour time frame, we see that AUDUSD was consolidating along the zone, creating quite a few dodges. What I think in the new trading week, like Aussie and AUDUSD, is highly likely that will reach that zone, test this previous resistance here, and from that level we could see that AUDUSD is dropping. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on AUDUSD, we will consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EUROCHF. Looking at, first of all, monthly time frame. Now from the monthly perspective, we see that EUROCHF currently bullish. This is the monthly candle, was significantly bullish. But what I think that as the price already tested this previous swing low, this previous support zone here with this monthly doji tested as resistance, we might see some bounce to the upside on the lower time frame. Looking at weekly, what we have seen that from the weekly perspective, EUROCHF after the previous weekly doji rejected from this previous resistance turning support, we see that EUROCHF has a bounce. Now this week the price has gone up again to this important resistance level. From here, what we have seen that EUROCHF has a rejection. Now what we can expect on EUROCHF, what I think that in the new trading week, after retest of this zone, we could see that EUROCHF has a drop to this level. So if you draw this previous resistance turning support, what I think that EUROCHF highly likely that will remain between this resistance and support in the upcoming week. So if you look at daily, where we see that there is a daily impulse, in fact it has created a double top. The price couldn't break this resistance level on the daily on EUROCHF. What I think in the new trading week, the price might go to this level where there is a previous resistance, and from here we could see that euro CHF is coming back to this level of support where there is a previous resistance, which is starting support here. So if we look at for the lower time frame for an entry opportunity, as you can see, the price has primarily created a double top, has broken down, again created a consolidation pattern, but we see that bulls are not getting enough strength on this one for pushing the price to the upside. What we could see on euro CHF initially a rise to this level, and from that zone we can expect euro CHF to have a bearish movement. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on euro CHF, we will consider going short with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at euro GBP, looking at monthly perspective. So from the monthly time frame, we see that euro GBP has a very strong bearish movement. As you can see, this is the monthly candle. The previous month the price grabbed liquidity from this support on the monthly, created a bullish candle. Now as a result, this month we have seen the market created an overextended market condition, and then bears now selling this market. The way the price action formed, as we see that there is a liquidity gap on the monthly, this zone is a high rejection zone. We could see euro GBP is coming back down probably to this doji where there is a high liquidity before creating any move. So from the monthly it is look like bearish. Now looking at the weekly time frame, we see the same thing on euro GBP is bearish. If you look at back-to-back 2 weeks candlestick pattern, we see first of all there is a big bearish candle, followed by this week the bulls tried to create a new higher high. Instead it has created a lower high. This is the first sign that bears are stronger. And also we see a long week candle. So if you compare 2 weeks price action, we see that the bears are still dominant in the market. As a result, in the new trading week we could see at least a drop to this previous neckline of this double bottom formation as a support, and from that zone we might see another bullish move. Looking at daily, now this daily candle is also significantly bearish. We see every day the price was creating series of lower high on euro GBP. So if you look at lower time frame further, we see that this is the bearish candle that has formed during the live session. This is what I exactly mentioned in my live session as well. Probably have seen that the price to continue to drop, and the price did exactly as it is. What I think that in the new trading week we might see an immediate drop from here based on price action, or we could see after significant retracement to the upside, we could see euro GBP is coming back down. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we can consider going short on euro GBP with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at euro JPY, looking at monthly perspective. Now from the monthly time frame, we see that euro JPY back to back 2 months bearish. This month we see that the price primarily has an up and down. The price is still on a zone where we can consider this price is still bearish, though it is a long-term bull market. As already back to back 2 months drop, this month also the bears push that price significantly to the downside. But I think that we might see a monthly doji being closed, so the price action is still bearish. Looking at the weekly, we see that from the weekly perspective there was a weekly bullish engulfer, and this is what also expected in the previous weekly forex forecast, the price to continue to go up from here, and the price did exactly as it is now. As you can see, we have seen now a weekly pin bar or a doji that has a lower high and just above this resistance level. What I think that in the new trading week, after a little retracement to the upside, we could see a bearish candle in this zone. Now looking at daily, now this is the daily pattern. What we have seen, there is a big movement to the upside on the daily, but the price failed to break this long-term resistance zone. We see instead EURGBP has created a double top formation here. Now with that double top, there is a weakless candle on the daily last day of trading week, and that has a huge liquidity in it. What I think that in the new trading week, the price might break this high on the daily, grab liquidity, and from this level we could see that EURJPY is coming back down. So if we convert that on the lower time frame on the 4-hour perspective, we could see that EURJPY is grabbing liquidity from here and then giving us a potential bearish setup. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we will consider going short on EURJPY with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EURAUD. Looking at monthly time frame, we see that EURAUD from the monthly perspective, as there is a monthly close coming, we see that this market is still strongly bearish. This is the full body red candle, which in fact staying in a very important monthly level of support zone. And what we can expect this price to have another push to the downside to break this support to create a new lower low, as we have seen a rejection from this important monthly level of resistance. We can expect EURAUD to continue to drop. Now if we look at the weekly perspective on EURAUD, we see that from the weekly time frame the price has created at this move. What we see that there is a visible weekly perspective, there is a head and shoulder. The price has broken down from this head and shoulder, leaving a neckline just below this doji. And what I think that in the new trading week, after testing this neckline of this previous support as a resistance, we might see another drop to the downside on EURAUD. If we look at daily perspective, we see there is a strong impulse on EURAUD, and the price has broken this important level of support. And what we can expect on EURAUD, the price to go ahead and test this previous resistance as a support on the daily time frame. So that means that if we look at further lower time frame on the 4-hour perspective on EURAUD, as you can see the price is consolidating here, we might see a break to the upside to test this previous long-term support here as a resistance, and we could see that EURAUD giving us a potential selling opportunity along this zone. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we will consider going short on EURAUD with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at EURCAD, looking at monthly perspective. Now from the monthly time frame, we see that EURCAD back to back quite a few months strongly bullish. Now there's a strong bullish engulfer followed by another bullish candle. Now this is the monthly candle, which is doji. Now this is the sign that slowly the bulls getting a little bit of weaker, but still the market is bullish. So let's look at weekly perspective to see how it is doing. Now from the weekly perspective, we see that EURCAD has created this big impulse followed by a consolidation. The price primarily has broken out of this consolidation structure. Now we see the price again coming back down to retest that level. What I think that, as you can see, there is a long bearish engulfer on this one on EURCAD on the weekly, grabbing liquidity from this resistance. After this kind of rejection, what we can expect? Another drop. What I think that the price highly likely that will break this support again, probably will create even a lower, overextended market to the downside before going bullish again. So looking at daily perspective on EURCAD, what we see that there is a long bearish engulfer followed by a doji or a narrow candle that in fact tested the neckline of this reversal pattern here. There is a head and shoulder has broken down. What we could see in the new trading week, what I think that the price might test this previous support here, resistance here as a resistance, and then we could see that EURCAD is coming back down. So if we look at further lower time frame, 4-hour perspective, we see there is a big drop followed by a narrow dojis, and the price is rejecting again. Looks like that euro is bearish, and if we draw this trend line on the 4-hour perspective for a potential entry opportunity, what I think that EURCAD highly likely will go up and test the zone where there is the previous resistance here and also turning resistance, and as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along the zone after a strong rejection, we'll consider going short on EURCAD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPAUD. Looking at monthly, we see that from the monthly perspective, this is the monthly candle which is going to close after 2 days. GBPAUD is significantly bearish. We see that there is a long doji here, grabbing liquidity from here, created this doji, followed by what we have seen, that this is the resistance here from the monthly perspective, and from that resistance the price grabbed liquidity and created this strong bearish candle. What we can expect on GBPAUD in the upcoming days? We could see a further drop on this one, and from that level we can expect GBPAUD. What I think that it might remain bearish. As you can see from the long-term perspective, GBPAUD is a long-term bearish market. If we look at the weekly time frame, we see there's already a liquidity gap previous week, and as a result this week strong drop. And as you can see the price, we see a clear visible head and shoulder in the zone on GBPAUD. Now with that head and shoulder formation, we can expect GBPAUD to continue to drop. And if we draw this previous support zone here with this green candle that has a huge liquidity turning resistance, what I think that the price highly likely that will respect this support as resistance, and from this zone we can expect GBPAUD to continue to drop. Now if we look at daily time frame, we have seen there is a very strong liquidity grab on the daily, and then immediately dropped. With that drop, the price now creating narrow dojis. So this is the zone. What I think that in the new trading week the price might break this zone, they break this structure, maybe highly likely that 2 days doji will be violated, and highly likely the price will test this previous support, long-term support here as a resistance, and then we might see that GBPAUD is dropping. So as soon as we will find on the lower time frame on GBPAUD giving us an overextended market and giving us further probability to drop, we will consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPCAD from the monthly time frame. Now from the monthly perspective, we see that GBPCAD, after the previous monthly shooting star, this month on this strong bullish market, the price grabbed liquidity from here and created a doji. Now this doji is so far still 2 days remaining to close. Looks like that it might close as a middleman. Now as this is a long-term bull market, this middleman has a liquidity grab from this previous monthly doji or a shooting star. I think that this price will remain bullish in the upcoming days. If we look at the daily weekly perspective, what we have seen that from the weekly time frame, GBPCAD previous week there is a big bullish candle. This week we see a narrower candle that in fact has tested this previous support zone, previous resistance zone, this neckline as a support, and from this level we can expect GBPCAD to have a bounce. Already we see that if you compare this price action, this green candle is strongly bullish, this red candle has a long wick at the bottom, is a very important level. So if we look at the daily perspective, we see that GBPCAD from the daily time frame has created a long bullish market structure. There is an impulse and consolidation correction. We see that from this level GBPCAD, but I think that after testing this zone we might see that a bullish move. If you closely look at this daily structure, we see that on this daily price action, this consolidation pattern is significantly bullish. So what we can expect on GBPCAD, let's look at further lower time frame to see suitable entry opportunity. What we can expect on GBPCAD for this price to come back down and test this previous support zone and to give us a suitable entry opportunity. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on GBPCAD, we will consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPCHF again in the similar way monthly time frame. So from the monthly perspective, we see that GBPCHF, this is a strongly bullish market. If we closely look at, we see after back-to-back drop this month in this strongly bullish market. So basically if you closely look at this monthly price action, we see this is an impulse. The price created this triangular pattern. So when you see a bullish impulse followed by a triangle, this is where we can expect GBPCHF to give us a strong break to the upside. If we look at the weekly price action, we see that there is a narrow doji on the weekly on GBPCHF after this impulse to the downside. So the price was basically creating series of lower high on the daily and also higher low in this zone. So if you draw this triangular pattern on the daily time frame to see how the price action might move, what do you see? That the price is following this pattern. What I think that in the new trading week we might see this low of this day is broken, and from here we can expect a bullish move on GBPCHF. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on GBPCHF, we will consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Okay, let's look at GBPUSD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this one. Looking at again monthly, we see that GBPUSD from the monthly perspective, this is also a long-term bull market. We have seen this current monthly candle, which is closing after 2 days, created a very strong bullish price action, bouncing from the previous monthly low, created this bullish candle. At the same time, we see that this current candle currently just been rejected primarily from the previous monthly high after creating an overextended market to the upside. What I think that as we see that DXY might remain or create a bullish pattern, we could see that GBPUSD is coming back down for a deeper retracement to the downside on the lower time frame later this month. Looking at weekly, now from the weekly perspective, we see that GBPUSD creating that price action on the weekly is still bullish, but at the same time it has created a doji that is just grab liquidity from the previous resistance zone. So what I think that in the upcoming week on GBPUSD may go up again along this zone, and we could see another drop from this level to the downside. So if we look at daily perspective here, we see that on GBPUSD from the daily perspective, the price primarily created a daily bearish candle here, which is still creating a higher low. What I think in the new trading week, as you can see, this is the resistance that we are expecting to be respected after grabbing liquidity. I think that in the new trading week, the price will break this high again, probably will create a lower high, and then we could see that GBPUSD is coming back down. As we see that in the new month, we might see some strengthening on DXY. So on the lower time frame perspective, the way the price action form, as you can see, it's a long consolidation pattern. I think that the price will primarily break to the upside in the new trading week, and from that resistance zone we could see that in GBPUSD giving us a suitable entry opportunity to the downside. So as soon as we will find suitable price action pattern along this zone, we'll consider going short on GBPUSD with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at NZDCAD. Looking at monthly perspective, now from the monthly, like the GBPCAD, NZDCAD also long-term bullish market. At the same time, we see the price has formed this monthly middleman. So far 2 days remaining. What I think that in the new trading week, we might see that this market might move in a sideways, but at the same time it is a bullish market, and later we could see another bullish momentum. Looking at weekly perspective on NZDCAD, this week we see that after the previous weekly big bullish candle this week, the price couldn't create a new higher high, instead has created a doji. Now with the doji formation, what I think that in the new trading week, NZDCAD might drop again in this direction. So as soon as we will find, as you can see from the daily perspective, we see that this market failed to create a new higher high, instead creating a series of lower high and multiple liquidity grab on the daily. You see there is one liquidity grab here, a big long bearish candle followed by another doji. What I think that in the new trading week, NZDCAD after grabbing liquidity from the top, testing this zone, we could see that NZDCAD again coming back down. Highly likely that this price will come back to this zone where there are quite a few daily dojis here. So if we look at 4 hour perspective on NZDCAD, what we could see that, as you can see, the price is respecting this smooth resistance level. What I think that initially we might see a break to the upside, grabbing liquidity, and from here we can expect NZDCAD to go down. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on NZDCAD for this potential bearish setup, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at NZDJPY, looking at monthly time frame. So from the monthly perspective, NZDJPY, what we see that this is a long-term bull market, and what we have seen this current monthly candle after previous monthly rejection this month, the price has come to this monthly level of support, and from that support we have seen that primarily a bounce. This is the monthly candle which is closing after 2 days. Let's see on the weekly how this price might do. Now from the weekly perspective, we have seen that there is a big bullish candle followed by a narrow doji. Now as you can see, there has been an impulse correction. What we could see, what I think that in the new trading week, after testing this resistance, we could see another bearish move on NZDJPY. Probably will test this support here before creating any push to the upside. If we look at the daily time frame, we see that NZDJPY from the daily perspective as well is creating a bearish price action. There is weakless candle on the daily, and what I think that in the new trading week on the daily, the price might grab liquidity from here, and then we might see that this price created this another bearish candle, and highly likely the price will come back down here and probably will test this very important liquidity zone where there is a previous resistance turning support, and from that zone we might see a bullish move again. So with that in mind, let's see how we can find entry opportunity. As you can see, this is the doji that has formed. What I think that in the new trading week, the price might break this weekly candle on the 4-hour, and from that zone we can expect NZDJPY to give us a suitable bearish trading opportunity. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we'll consider going short on NZDJPY with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at gold. As you can see, gold created an interesting price action. Let's look at how it is going to do. As NFP coming, gold might get extremely volatile. Looking at first of all monthly picture to see overall direction in the market. Now from the monthly perspective, gold is long-term bull market. As you can see, there is a monthly support here, back-to-back 3 months candle created a support zone here, and with that monthly support, gold has created this long bullish engulfer. Now with that bullish engulfer followed by a narrow candle, which is a continuation pattern, we have seen this month the price created open with a dot gap and created a weakless candle, has broken to the upside. Now this is the monthly candle. We see the price has reached this monthly resistance zone where there is a monthly opening and closing level, and from that zone slowly the market is creating a downward movement. As this is a highly bullish market, we still could see some bullish move, but at the same time, as you see that DXY might show a strengthening, and with that strengthening on DXY, we could see slowly gold might give us some bearish trading opportunity, or it might move in a just a sideways. If we look at weekly time frame, we see that DXY, after this big impulse on the weekly last day of trading week, created a doji that has, as you can see, this doji in fact has a little rejection from the top. What I think that gold is going to do after back-to-back 2 weeks doji, we might see after testing this resistance again, we might see some drop for a deeper retracement from the weekly perspective as well. If we look at daily, now this is the daily chart. What we see, the market was moving in an uptrending market structure, impulse correction. So every time the price was creating series of higher high and higher low. So what do we see this? If we closely look at the past 2 days candlestick pattern on gold, we see there is in fact a bearish engulfer followed by a doji. Though the market structure is still bullish, the price looking like that it is creating a bearish market structure. And I think that in the new trading week, after either breaking this daily high or without breaking this daily high, we might see that gold is coming back down, and highly likely that at least it will come back in the first move to this daily 20 EMA. Probably will create an overextended market here, and then we might see gold again going to test this zone, and probably we'll see in that way either it is moving in a sideway or remaining bearish in that zone. So if we look at 4-hour perspective to see suitable entry opportunity, what we see that gold already has formed a head and shoulder here. You see there is a big head, left shoulder and the right shoulder. So what we can expect on gold to give us a suitable entry opportunity, as soon as we will find a suitable entry opportunity along this zone after a head and shoulder formation on gold, we will consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at NZDUSD. Now, like all other USD pairs, NZDUSD also long-term bull market, but what I think that as the monthly close is coming, we might see some rejection to the downside for a deeper retracement on this one as well. As you can see, the previous monthly, this is the doji, the price has broken the low and then created another bullish move to the upside. If we look at the weekly perspective on NZDUSD, we see the same thing. There is a strong liquidity grab from here created this doji, and then back to back every week the price is creating a strong bullish candle. Now the last day of trading week, we see a narrow doji. What I think that as we expecting for a potential strengthening on DXY, and you can see this is the weekly doji that couldn't break this previous weekly high. What I think that the price might respect this weekly resistance, and from this resistance we can expect NZDUSD to continue to drop. Now if we look at the daily time frame on NZDUSD, what I think that from the daily perspective, NZDUSD also slowly creating a long wick candle at the top with a series of lower high. What I think that this price will continue to drop on the lower time frame. If we look at the further lower time frame on the 4-hour perspective, this is the zone that we see a long consolidation and fully choppy market. What I think we might see a break to the upside, grabbing liquidity, and from that zone we could potentially see that NZDUSD has given us a selling opportunity. So as soon as we will find suitable entry after the price action confirmation, we will consider going short on NZDUSD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at dollar CAD, looking at monthly time frame. So from the monthly perspective, USD CAD, as you can see, is so far showing a very strong bearish price action. Due to the strength we see the dollar CAD was a very strongly bearish throughout the month, but at the same time we see that this is a long-term bull market. This is the monthly impulse, the price connected here, and what I think that we might see initially a drop, and then we could see again on the strengthening of DXY we might see a bullish move on this one, as this is a long-term bull market. If we look at the weekly time frame, this is the weekly candle that has broken out of this previous doji zone here. This is the previous resistance, and from this level what we can expect USD CAD to have a drop to the downside. So let's look at on the daily perspective. What I think that from the daily, as you can see, there was a strong bearish engulfer followed by a narrow doji here on the daily on USD CAD, and what I think that the price might go up again to test this zone where there is a high liquidity from the daily perspective. Now with that high liquidity, we can expect on USD CAD to give us a bearish setup, and we might not see big move on USD CAD. What I think that we could see that the price has broken this high, grabbed liquidity, and probably creating another doji, as we could see that DXY is getting stronger and CAD is strong, inherently strong currently. We could see another doji. So if we look at the lower time frame, this price action is significantly bearish. As you can see, drop, correction, drop. So every time the price was creating a series of lower high and lower low. So we see that there is a red candle here with this bearish engulfer followed by a narrower candle, and with that narrow candle, what I think that in the new trading week we might see some break to the upside. And if we see that pattern that the price has broken to the upside and reached that zone where there is a previous support turning resistance, and from that zone if we find suitable entry opportunity after price action confirmation, we will consider going short on USD CAD with a high probability trade setup Okay, let's look at USDCHF. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity currently we have now. From the monthly perspective, first of all, from the bigger picture perspective, we see that USDCHF there was quite a few months strong drop. At the same time, we see the price just penetrated this monthly support and immediately rejected. This is the monthly candle, which looks like this is going to be a doji. Now with the doji formation, we could see USDCHF is going up. As we have already seen a strong drop, now we can expect a correction. If we take our Fibonacci from this drop from the low to the high to the low, we see that USDCHF, this is the level where there is a 38.2% Fibonacci level. If we look at weekly time frame on USDCHF, we see that there is already a liquidity gap from the support, and we can expect with that liquidity gap, the previous week there is a narrow doji, and I think that, as you can see, these pairs are not being able to create a new lower low. We could potentially see that dollar Swiss franc is going up to test this previous support turning resistance. If we look at the daily time frame on USDCHF, we see that there is slowly the price is creating a consolidation, and at the same time it's creating a bullish pattern. As you can see, after this drop, strong rejection, now the price is creating series of higher low with this double bottom. Looks like that the price will continue to go up and might break this local resistance zone. So if you look at further lower time frame, we see that there is in fact a smooth trend line here, and what we have seen primarily, the price has broken down from this trend line, grabbed liquidity, created a double bottom, and then again has broken to the upside. Now the price is consolidating along this zone, creating a series of higher low. What I think in the new trading we might see break of this level to this zone, creating an overextended market, grabbing liquidity, and then we could see that USDCHF is going up. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity on dollar Swiss franc, we will consider going long with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at euro dollar. Euro dollar, like all the USD pairs, looks like that it is also probably preparing for a reversal. Let's look at monthly perspective. We see that from the monthly perspective, back to back 4 months strongly bullish. Now currently the price is above this important monthly level of resistance. The candle is above this zone. What I think that in the new trading week and in the new months, we could see that some drop on this one for a deeper retracement. As this market already overextended, we might see a correction on the lower time frame and higher time frame. Looking at weekly perspective, we see that euro dollar has formed a price action where there is a gap opening, and this is a pure doji from the weekly. What I think that after testing this previous resistance as resistance on the weekly, we could see euro dollar is dropping, and what I think that either we might see that euro dollar is testing this channel, this support here, or at least to this level where there is a red candle in this big movement. There is only one red candle not related to the movement. Highly likely that the price will come here, will test this previous resistance as support, and we might see a bounce primarily, or we could see a further continuation to the downside. If we look at the daily time frame on euro dollar, we see that from the daily perspective, this market with this gap opening, the bulls tried to create a higher high, but we see the price action is in a sideway, but is still creating bigger red candles in comparison with this green in this zone. If we closely look at, we see first of all there is a doji in the beginning of the week, and this is the high of the doji, and the price still couldn't break this high. We see that there is an attempt from the buyers to create an overextended market, and then immediately has come back down, and because the price is failing to create a higher high, we might see deeper retracement. What I think that in the first move, we might see the prices coming to this daily 20 EMA zone, from where we can expect euro dollar to have a bullish move. So if we look at further lower time frame, we see that there is a head and shoulder pattern formation on euro dollar. So with that head and shoulder, what I think initially we could see an uprise, and we could potentially see an overextended to the upside to grab liquidity, as this is a long-term bull market, and after liquidity grab, we might see that euro dollar is coming back down, and this is the zone that we will be waiting for a potential bearish trading opportunity on euro dollar. As soon as we will find suitable entry, we will consider going short. Now let's look at USD CNHs. Now this is the trade that we have closed with 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio in our Forex Trading Wizard Academy on USD CNHs. And as you have seen from the weekly perspective, the price has done exactly as per analysis in the previous weekly Forex forecast. So USD CNHs, looking at monthly, we see that back-to-back 3 months significant drop, and I think that this market will continue to drop as this is a very strongly bearish market. Looking at weekly, what we have seen the previous week, there's a narrow doji, there was a weekly drop. First of all, there's an impulse correction. With the correction, we see the price couldn't break this weekly high, instead created doji. Now with the doji formation, what I think that the price might again test this previous resistance, and from here we can expect USD CNHs to have a drop. Now looking at daily perspective, we see that there is in fact a trend line here. This is the previous support zone here, okay, on USD CNHs, which in turn tested as a resistance last day of trading week, and we see a long wick candle. What I think that USD CNHs might have another drop, as this is a long-term bearish market. If we look at 4-hour perspective on USD CNH, we see this structure has broken down, and again the price has gone up for a retest. What I think that we might see further push to the upside, retest this zone properly, this previous support here, support here, support here, which is turning resistance, and from that zone on USD CNHs we could see that the price is dropping. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along the zone, we will consider going short on USD CNHs with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at US oil. Looking at first of all monthly. Now from the monthly, we see that US oil failed to create a higher high. We see previous months there was a doji. These months initially the bull were very strong after this bounce, but what we have seen that bulls failed to create a new higher high. Instead the price now slowly reverting back, and what I think that in the first 2 days of trading week we might see that US oil even coming back down again to complete a long bearish candle. As it has failed to create a higher high, we could see new lower low. If we look at the weekly, this is the weekly candle, which is there is a bearish engulfer here from this weekly resistance zone. This is the resistance here on the weekly. With that bearish engulfer, what we can expect on US oil, the price to have a drop at least certain level. As the price grabbed liquidity, the buyers couldn't create a new higher high, we might see that US oil is coming back down. Now if we look at the daily, now this is the daily that is in fact a very strong bearish engulfer with a double top formation. What I think that in the new trading week the price might go up a little bit to test this neckline of this previous support as resistance, and from here we can expect a drop on US oil. Now the way the price action is formed on the 4-hour, you see there is in fact a very strong drop followed by this correction. So there is a narrow doji here. There are 2 probability for US oil. It might even open with a gap and then to drop, or we could see that US oil again has gone up for a deeper retracement to this level where there is a previous support turning resistance, and from that level we can expect for potential bearish setup. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along the zone on US oil, we will consider going short with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at dollar yen. Now looking at monthly time frame, we see that from the monthly perspective, dollar yen is in fact there was a back-to-back 3 months significant drop. Now this is a long-term bullish market historically. As you can see, dollar yen created this overextended market to the upside. If we take our Fibonacci on dollar yen from low to the high, we see that the price just crossed this 61.8% Fibonacci level and again has gone up and closing above. This is the monthly candle. What I think that the dollar yen might create a monthly doji, and then we might see again a bullish move. As the market already overextended to the downside to the support, we can expect now a correction to the upside. If we look at the weekly perspective, this is what exactly expected on the weekly forex forecast, to remain bullish on dollar yen. We have seen that there is a bullish move, but still the price couldn't break this previous weekly high. So what is likely to happen? What I think that this week the price initially might drop to break this previous weekly low, and then we might see that the price again has gone up. If we look at the daily time frame, what we have seen that from the daily perspective, dollar yen has created this trend line here. This is the previous resistance zone here, and the price was, rather than creating a new lower low, we have seen the test of this resistance, and the price is slowly consolidating in this area. As you can see, at the same time in this zone, dollar yen is creating series of higher low, except this green daily candle, which is in fact a strong bullish momentum from this support. What I think that dollar yen slowly will turn into a bullish market, breaking this resistance. If we look at the 4-hour perspective, we see the market is consolidating in this zone here. Okay, we see the price is moving in a sideways, and what I think that initially we might see a breakdown, and then we could see that dollar yen started to go up, creating a new uptrend and merging with the global uptrend. So as soon as we'll see dollar yen has broken this resistance zone, and on the test of this previous resistance as support, we'll consider going long on dollar yen with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at USD-ZAR. Looking from the monthly perspective on USD-ZAR, we see that this is the monthly time frame on USD-ZAR, which is strongly, so far we see significant bearish move on this one. This is a long-term bull market. The price looks like that slowly creating a correction, and then we will see that USD-ZAR is creating another bullish move. If we look at this Fibonacci from this low to the high, we see USD-ZAR is around 50% to 61.8% Fibonacci zone, which is the golden ratio in this area. Still didn't come to 61.8, but the price action is forming. We could see that USDs are slowly turning into a bull market. If we look at the weekly perspective on USDZAR, we see after the previous weekly bullish candle, this week also the price remaining bullish. What I think that on USDZAR, after breaking this weekly low, we could see that the price again created a bullish move. Now if we look at the daily perspective on USDZAR, we see that this is the previous support zone here on the daily perspective, but I think that initially we might see a drop to test this level, and from here we could see that USDZAR is going up again. So if you look at the 4-hour perspective on USDZAR, we see that this is we are expecting it to be a bull market, and this trend line, there's a support here, we see this support is being respected. What I think that highly likely the price might break initially to the downside, probably along this zone. We could see that USDZAR is giving us potential bullish trading opportunities. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on USDZAR, we'll consider going long with a high probability trade setup. Okay, let's look at GBPJPY. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have. Now looking at, first of all, monthly on GBPJPY, we see that this is a historically bullish market. There is a big impulse, and then the price is consolidating in the zone where there is a series of higher low has been created on GBPJPY, and from this level we have seen the price has broken to the upside, and then the price is testing this previous resistance, turning support, and we can expect on GBPJPY to give us a potential bullish trading opportunity, as this is a long-term bull market. After little retracement, we can expect GJ to continue to go up. Looking at weekly perspective, we see there is a big long bullish engulfer on GBPJPY, followed by this week a narrow doji. What I think that highly likely the price might initially break this weekly low, grab liquidity from here, and then we could see that GJ again creating a bullish move. If we look at the daily, we see already there is a double top formation with a lower high on the right side, and with this daily impulse here, correction with this doji, again impulse. What I think that, as you can see, there is a daily doji here. This zone has not been tested yet. Highly likely that GJ might continue to drop at least to this level or to this level to grab liquidity, and from here we might see again GJ is going up. So if we look at 4-hour perspective, this is the weekly low that we are expecting GJ to break to the downside, probably coming back to this zone where important previous resistance turning support, and from here we could see that GJ is going up. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity from this zone for a potential bullish setup on GBPJPY, we will consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Let's look at CADJPY. Let's see how it is doing now. As you can see, CADJPY, looking at first of all monthly. Now we see that from the monthly perspective, CADJPY slowly creating a bullish price action. This is a long-term bull market, as you can see, which is the previous resistance here turning support. And what I think that we might see a monthly doji, and then from here we could see another bullish move on CADJPY. Looking at weekly perspective, we see back-to-back 2 weeks significant bullish move. This is what exactly expected after the previous weekly green candle with a long wick at the top. This week we have seen the price already reached the top and creating slowly a bullish market. What I think that in the new trading week we might see that CADJPY again breaking this weekly low and then creating a strong bullish move. So if you draw this weekly low and looking at daily, now this is the daily chart. As you can see, the price created an interesting structure. As you can see, there is a smooth resistance level with quite a few days high, creating a very strong resistance. And because it's a very strong resistance, we could see the price has broken that resistance and grabbed liquidity and then coming down. So what I think that in the new trading week we might see that firstly CADJPY has broken out from this zone, grab liquidity, and then has come back to this support, tested this neckline of this previous resistance as support, and then we might see that CADJPY giving us potential bullish setup. So if we look at further lower time frame on the 4-hour perspective, we see that CADJPY, as it is creating slowly a bearish price action, we might see breaking all this resistance level here and then grabbing liquidity and then coming back down, and from this zone we might see again bullish setup. So if we see, as this is creating a bullish price action, only if we see that this is a false breakout of this important resistance, we will consider a short opportunity from here. And what I think that the price will come back to the support, and when the price will be support, if that's the case, we'll consider going long from this zone with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at EURNZD. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have now. EURNZD, as you can see on the screen, back-to-back 2 big trades that we have opened last week, and one of this one is our YouTube live trade. Probably you are also running that trade with us from this YouTube live session. So what I think that, as you can see, the way the price action is formed, the price is highly likely that it will drop, and we will hold that trade over the weekend. As we are holding, we'll keep running this trade for a bit bigger profit target. And also we had another trade before this one in our Forex trading wizard academy with 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio, as this market is dropping strongly. So with that said, let's look at how we can find trading opportunity in the upcoming week, looking at monthly perspective first of all. So from the monthly time frame, we see that EURNZD, after grabbing a strong liquidity from this resistance, there has been a strong drop followed by this correction. Now we can expect another drop on EURNZD. Looking at weekly perspective, from the weekly time frame, we see that there was a big bearish engulfer followed by a doji on the weekly. What I think that in the new trading week we might see another drop to the downside after retracement or even without retracement. Looking at daily, now from the daily perspective, we see that EURNZD grabbed liquidity quite a few times. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here. So every time the price trying to create a movement, grabbing liquidity and creating series of lower high, that's the sign that EURNZD is likely to drop. And what I think that this price highly likely that will come back to this important previous resistance turning support here, as there was a reversal pattern here. So looking at further lower time frame to see suitable entry opportunity, what I think that EURNZD, as soon as market open, as you can see, there is already a bearish engulfer followed by a doji. The last session also there is a bearish engulfer. Highly likely might open with a gap, and then initially we could see a drop, or we could see after little bit of retracement to the upside in the zone, we could see that EURNZD is coming down. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity, we might add another position on EURNZD with a high probability trade setup. So these are the Forex, gold, and Forex major and minor currency pairs. Guys, if you want to trade all of them with us in our Forex Trading Wizard Academy, you can join us, link in the description area, to become an independent, professional, profitable trader. So now let's look at indices, how they are doing. Looking at NASDAQ first of all, looking at monthly. So we see that from the monthly perspective, NASDAQ just has broken the previous monthly high, created an overextended market, and then we see primarily it is having a rejection. What I think that as this market is going to close very soon, as this market already has broken the resistance, we might see that NASDAQ is coming back down again. If you look at the weekly time frame, we see that there is a big impulse on the weekly. The price already hit this resistance zone here, created an overextended market. What I think that after testing this zone, we might see another drop, as we could expect a deeper retracement on this one. Already has an impulse. We can expect a correction on NASDAQ. So looking at daily, this is the daily chart. As you can see, that has grabbed liquidity from here, created an overextended market. What I think that in the new trading week, after testing this resistance, we might see the NASDAQ again has dropped. Even initially we could see a break of this support, or even break to the downside to test this long wick on the red. That zone has not been tested, and from that zone we might see again bullish move. So if you look at the further lower time frame on the 4-hour perspective, you see there is resistance here with this long wick candle. A big move happened from this zone. The price has gone up exactly from that level, created an overextended market, and this is the last session's candle, which is a typical bearish price action. So as soon as market open, my eye will be on this one to see how the price action reacting. As soon as we will see the price is rejecting to the downside on NASDAQ or NAS 100, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at US30, looking at monthly perspective. So from the monthly time frame, we see that US30 creating a very strong bearish price action starting from here. There's a big impulse followed by this correction, and the price is consolidating and merging into one point. And this is in fact, as you can see, every month the price was becoming narrower and narrower. And this current monthly candle, what I think that before the monthly close, we might see further bearish move on this one as well. Probably will close as a doji, or even we could see new lower low. So if we look at weekly perspective, this is the weekly candle, and if we compare these two zones here, there is a strong bearish candle followed by this green candle is also bearish, because we see there is a long wick at the top, and the candle health, this green candle health, is smaller than this red candle's health. So what we can expect on US30 to give us a potential bearish setup along this zone on the lower time frame. So looking at daily, what we see that from the daily perspective, US30 has a strong bounce followed by this correction, created this doji. Again we see back-to-back 2 days uprise, but at the same time, if you closely draw a trend line, we see that US30 basically respecting this level here, which is the support here, and also we see this respecting this resistance. What I think that in the new trading week, after testing this resistance, we might see a drop, and I think this price will remain in this support and resistance on the lower time frame. And looking at 4-hour perspective, we see there is already a bearish candle on the market opening. If we see that US30 has given us a suitable entry opportunity according to the rules of our strategies, we'll consider going short on US30 with a high probability trade setup. Okay, let's look at BTCUSD. Looking at first of all monthly. So from the monthly perspective, we see that BTCUSD showing suddenly a very strong bullish move. As you can see, this is the monthly price action, which already has created a very strong bullish candle. On the closing, we might see another bullish move on BTCUSD. Looking at weekly perspective, what we have seen, there is already, it has created an impulse on the weekly. Slowly it is creating a doji. What I think that the price might consolidate in this zone and may remain a little bit of bearish, and then we might see another impulse. So if we take our Fibonacci level for this move to the upside on BTCUSD from low to the high, we see the 38.2% Fibonacci's level, where there is the previous resistance here turning support, and from here we might see another bullish move. So if you look at daily this price action, we see that there is already an impulse consolidation, another impulse consolidation, series of higher low. So what I think that initially we might see a drop to this level, and from here we could see another bullish move. As this price action now showing a strong bullish momentum, we'll wait for the price to drop to this level before creating or before buying BTCUSD from this zone. Let's look at Ethereum USD. Now from the Ethereum USD, we see in the same way as the BTCUSD, there is an impulse on the weekly perspective, followed by a narrower candle, which is in fact a long wick candle. What I think that as this weekly candle is closing on Ethereum, after a retest of this trend line, we could see that it is also going down, going up, pardon me. If we look at the daily, there is already a big impulse and consolidation. What I think that at some point we'll see the price is breaking this low to this level, grabbing liquidity, and then we could see that Ethereum is going long. As this is a long-term bull market, we will not be interested to sell Ethereum. So we'll be, as soon as we'll find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for a bullish setup, we can consider going long on Ethereum USD. I sincerely believe that, guys, you enjoyed this weekly Forex forecast. If you find value in it, then don't forget to subscribe and also hit that bell button so that you don't miss out any of the content that we are releasing every day. Thank you. I'll see you soon in my next analysis.